Moana Poyer.
And I'm your co-host, Boston Antunez.
And welcome to part 2 of the Theater Friends series.
Yes. And before we get started today, we just wanted to let you all know how to get involved with Bohemian Arts. Following BA on all social media platforms is a great way to stay up to date with all future projects, as well as any theater project announcements. You can also go to the Bohemian Arts website to find everything BA related, and you can find out how to become a Bohemian. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the theater project, our guests, our episodes, past or future, or just for me and Moana, we would love for you all to reach out to the email below. Thank you. Moana, back to you.
Thank you, Boston. Also, if you haven't already, go check out the first part of the Theater Friends series, since we may be referencing that episode today. And with that said, let's go ahead and introduce everyone. First up, we have Tevya in Fiddler on the Roof and Evan Goldman in 13. Please welcome Christopher Ramirez Sosa.
Woo. Hi,
Hello. Second is Monsieur Dark in Beauty and the Beast, and Fiedka in Fiddler on the Roof, Michael Johansson.
Yay.
And up next, we have Ursula in The Little Mermaid and Catherine Pulitzer in Newsies, Meredith Bell. Hello, beautiful. Joining us next is Hoddle in Fiddler on the Roof and Maisie LeBird in Seussical, Miss Michaela Gomez. Hello. And returning to the TTP stage, we have Charlotte in 13 and Rosie in Bye Bye Birdie, Iris Zetlow.
Yay.
Next up is Conrad Birdie and Bye Bye Birdie and Bert and Mary Poppins, Mr. Dylan Cohen.
Yay. Hi, Dill.
And lastly, we have Patrice in 13, Priya Mapleton.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome. We're so excited to have this little mini reunion to catch up with you all and share some of our favorite memories and experiences of doing some theater together. So we thought we would start off by asking everyone, how did you get your start in City Temecula musical theater? Christopher, we'll start with you.
I think it was 6th grade. And it was Wizard of Oz the first time we did it around. I think that was like before most people were here. But I had taken like a year-long break from theater, and a friend roped me into doing it again. Yeah, I mean, it kind of kicked off from there. I played Scarecrow the first time we did it around. Dylan ended up doing it the second time around. And I didn't really stop, and I just continued until I graduated.
The first show I ever did was Cinderella, and I don't know how I just got like the city pamphlet, and I saw the class. I was like, yeah, that seems like something I might be able to get into. And I was kind of getting into music and acting at the time and trying to see where that would go. And so I thought it'd be a really cool opportunity.
So I started after doing a lot of shows with Priya. Priya messaged me and she was like, hey, do you want to do 13? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, a city show. And it was actually our first city show together. And we were the newest ones there pretty much because all of you had been there for so long. And we just came and everyone just took us in and we immediately fell in love with it. So we stuck with it.
My first show with City of Temecula was Mary Poppins in February of 2017. Oh, it was when we started, and I believe the show was in the summer. So 2017, I was a freshman in high school. I've done theater for a while at that point, but I was brought in by Miss Brooke Morris. She was my tap teacher at Temecula Dance Company, and she gave me the flyer, and she did not know that I was already a thespian at that point, but I auditioned, and I was a awesome chimney sweep. I will compliment my performance. I think it was great, so thank you.
I did Stewart's shows in middle school. So then in 7th grade, she was like, you should just come and try out for Shrek. And yeah, I stayed for a while.
It was actually you, Boston, when we were in 8th grade doing Aladdin, and you and Helena were off doing that, and we're like, hey, you should come join. And I was like, for sure. And yeah.
Yeah, so also like Michael, I saw the ad for it in like the Little City magazine. And 13 was always a show that I had wanted to do. And so I was like, I'm not going to do it alone. So I made Meredith do it with me. And yeah, it was definitely such a fun experience. And it was wonderful to meet all of you guys.
Similar to Michaela, I did middle school drama with Stuart. not by my will, as I'm sure a lot of people know. I moved here from North Carolina, and I just immediately got placed into her class by no choice of my own. And I tried to drop out, and she said, no. And I said, okay. And then she made me her assistant or whatever it was in her advanced drama class because I just really was not into performing. And then she told me to audition for Shrek, and then I did, and here I am. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Smo. Well, now you're here, and that's how we met, and that's how we're all here now. So thank you again for sharing how you got started, and how we're all basically stuck with each other for unwillingly the rest of our lives. Okay.
Okay, so we're just going to jump into the interview portion now. And we asked this question in the previous group, but we were intrigued to hear your guys' responses as well, since we know you guys put a lot of thought into the development of your characters. So this one is for Christopher, Michael, and Dylan. You three have all had the opportunity to play roles with varying accents and ages alongside being in different time periods throughout various shows. So we wanted to know what that process was like for each of you to develop those characters that we saw presented to us on stage.
Yeah, this is probably going to be along the same lines that Dylan may talk about, but we ended up having the privilege of being double casted in Mary Poppins, and I look back at it now, I'm like, wow, that was really juvenile and kind of borderline stupid of me to do. This may be a first-hand knowledge for some of you people, but throughout Tech Week of Mary Poppins,
oh no, everybody knows.
Oh, they do now. Okay, well, I guess I talked about it a little bit. But for like the entire week leading up into the show, I didn't shower. I didn't put on deodorant.
I wasn't talking about that.
No, you didn't know about that.
No, we talked.
I was talking about something completely different.
Oh no, I didn't shower at all.
Hey, good for you. Good thing I wasn't in that show. Okay, continue.
This was my phase where I was like trying to emulate like all these method actors, and I was like, yes, I am the character, which looking back is like, I didn't think I needed to do that. And I've kind of outgrown that sort of idea. But yeah, I did like a ton of things. I did that. I switched from coffee to tea completely for like 6 months of my life, which was crazy because I love coffee. And I even like took sandpaper to my elbows and knees to like rough them up, just whack stuff like that. But yeah, it was fun.
I would like to oh, sorry. I was just going to interject really quickly how he started off by saying, I'm sure Dylan had the same experience as me.
Did you not shower?
I just have a feeling that Dylan did not have the same experience.
I thought you were talking about like staying in the accent all week, because I remember I crewed half of that show, and I would just talk to me in your normal voice. Like I was trying to just have a conversation with you. But sometimes those things, but I think obviously different ways as you mature as a performer, you use them in different elements, of your life. But you got to start somewhere. So I give you props for the commitment, because I'm sure no one else would do that. And leave it to Christopher. But hey, it worked out because it was an awesome performance.
Thank you, sir.
I think the only role that I had to do like a real accent for was Fiedka. And for that, I don't think it turned out that as well as it could have, but like the research that I did into it was I listened to just Russian conversation, and I tried to emulate kind of what they were doing with the consonants, what they were doing with the vowels as best as I could. I wish there was a better, like a more, I don't know, scientific, like, but it turned out as it did. I don't know. There wasn't that much to it, I guess.
No, but I think just with anything, you do your research and you listen to things.
I pulled up a bunch of news articles, and I just kind of listened to, because sometimes I catch it and be like, oh, that's a word I know. Why do I know that? And and kind of piece it along and try to apply to the script. I think it worked out okay.
I do too, especially with that specific storyline and that specific show. Dialect would definitely was one of the things, especially for someone as myself who did not follow along with the storyline. Dialect was definitely a way to break up the characters and who they were, where they're from, their importance to the story. So I think that was definitely a plus.
Thanks, Moana.
I will say that I did not have quite the same extremity of experience that Christopher did during that time. But for that show, yeah, I did a lot of I wasn't focused as much on necessarily the accent, but the movement of the character of Bert, like Dick Van Dyke in general. Like I watched the entirety of the Dick Van Dyke show, and like watched a lot of like his stuff, his movies, just because I loved the way that he moved and he brought that into his character, even though his accent kind of sucked for that movie. But I just really liked the character that he portrayed. And then other than that, I guess it would just be like, for Bye Bye Birdie, I listened to nothing but Elvis Presley for a solid 3 months, which was a lot. But yeah.
Well, I wanted to commend you, Dylan, on doing like the whole Dick Van Dyke interpretation. I thought that was really cool because you would always talk to me about how you would watch the Dick Van Dyke show like all the time. And it was really cool to see you like emulate him on stage.
To kind of add on to that, you guys, even though you played the same role and it was obviously at the same time, you guys clearly had your different Berts.
Takes on it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I was really intrigued to ask you guys this question because, I mean, I didn't know for sure, but I was kind of positive that Christopher and Dylan didn't prepare the same way. So that's why I was really intrigued to answer this question because of the way you both portrayed the same role.
Meredith, Michaela, Priya, and Iris, you lovely ladies had the OPP opportunity to play various leading ladies. Thank you so much. What was it like to portray strong female leads in each of your respective shows? Because they're all different shows.
So definitely Catherine was probably my most bold character that I've played. And for me, that was just so weird because she is so strong and she's so forward with the things that she wants. And I am so not, because I'm very much so like a people pleaser. So that whole change was just crazy for me. And especially in the time that show took place, like in my life, and that was really good for me, just to really be able to say what I want and just to have that to like back me up, because I know that was when I was talking a lot about what I wanted to do with my life with my parents. So just to be able to like draw from her boldness to say I want to do theater with my life to my parents was really a good thing for me. So I'm really happy that I got to play Catherine.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm thinking back on roles and I feel like mine weren't like stereotypically strong female leads. They were more kind of like either the ugly duckling or like the femme fatale. It was more yeah, like I think about like Heather, the Heathers and the Yellow Heather, and it's been so long that I'm literally forgetting everything that I've ever played. But I think it was more just trying to like keep my strength as like my own person while also portraying these women that, you know, maybe weren't stereotypically or like by the definition strong, but they were vulnerable and real and authentic.
I saw both of you in both of those roles and you absolutely killed it. But I love the personal aspect that you both brought into developing those characters, especially because they're completely different from what the character is going through, but you were able to still take moments from your life and your personal experiences to make them forward the character and make them an amazing performance.
I think we can agree that just like women in general are just like better. Sorry.
Patrice was definitely, I mean, an interesting character to play. She's kind of, I'm not going to say bland, but she definitely is, she, you know, she's kind of like, doesn't have many friends, isn't very into like making new friends, gets bullied. And I guess in a sense, like going into this new theater company, I was really nervous. I like had a really hard time like talking to people normally, like talking to strangers and like making new friends. And that's how like going into it with Meredith was like definitely like a safety blanket that I had. But, and I guess Patrice, she kind of is kind of a loner, kind of shy to talk to new people. So that is something that I could relate to her and definitely helped me like find that character and connect with like her songs, like talking about her friendships and everything like that. But it definitely, I mean, it was a fun part to play song-wise because I loved all of her songs.
Oh man, playing Rosie, I definitely think it was one of my most favorite roles. Even though Bye Bye Birdie is an extremely dated show, we definitely struggled a lot with some of the jokes and some of the time period it was written in and performed in. So it was very different for sure. I was playing an older woman, so I believe Rosie was definitely in her 30s, so or late 20s. So it was very different to put myself in that place in life. But I do believe that it was a really, really fun show, and she had a lot of struggles, and me and Gabby, we were at each other's throats in that show, and it was so hilarious. I loved working with her, and I loved Spanish Rose. That was my favorite song I've probably ever performed. I took inspiration from my Nana, who was born and raised in Puerto Rico. So the accent I do there is Puerto Rican because that's the only real reference I've had in my life. And being a leading role in that show put a lot of pressure on me, but I feel like I learned a lot, and it made me want to show the younger generations, because we were so blessed to have so many children in the show, that to always put a lot of passion towards your work. So that was my favorite part of that show.
Right. And I think it's amazing too that like, and that's why like when me and Moana were working on this episode, we're so excited to ask that question. Sorry boys, we love you, but like ladies, because you guys each did shows that are quite literally in different time periods and in different parts of the country at different ages. And I think, you know, having your own personal experience, and I think always coming back to the nature of relating to a character is so important in everything you do. So I think being able to do that at like such a young age with those roles, even though it was probably just a couple years ago, but like I feel like I'm ancient now. I think really speaks volumes. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Great answer. If you'd love to hear, you know, pick your brains and hear your answers for that. So now I'm really excited for this because I'm interested to see the different answers for this group versus the last. So we're going to be playing a game of Theatre Superlatives, and you're going to give us your reasonings behind each of your decisions we'll be calling you. And so we will read off the superlative, Moana and I, and we will hold up the name. You will hold up the name if you're going to vote for her. And the options are not only limited to this group, but also to the previous group of theater friends as well. Okay, you guys all ready? Cool. I want to start us off.
Okay, first off, we have best laugh.
So we have Moana, Michael, Boston, Moana, Boston, Moana, Michael, and Dylan says Gabby. Awesome.
Boston, I feel like you just have a laugh that fills up an entire room, and like the kind of laugh that makes everyone else just like smile and like want to laugh with you. Like I feel like if I was having like a horrible day, Boston could just come in and make me laugh in an instant with just his laugh itself.
Oh, thank you. All right, this next one. Let's hear cast clown. We have Dylan. Iris, hold you up a little closer. Dylan, Moana, Dylan, and Boston.
Dylan is definitely the cast clown. He has said so many jokes to me throughout the years, and I think I know this is kind of on the contrary for Hairspray. When he was a cop, I couldn't breathe how funny this man is on stage. Like, and we definitely, I'm pretty sure the cops got in trouble a bunch of times, but it was hilarious. Can't beat him.
Okay, next one is most likely to be late. Okay, Moana, Meredith, and Dylan. You know, I think it's kind of a toss-up. I think we really had a variety of options there. Why don't we go with who hasn't answered yet? Why don't we go with Meredith?
From all of the shows that we've done together, I feel like Moana always had something else going on, and she like would randomly show up like 2 hours into a rehearsal and would have like 10 minutes left, and everyone would be like, what's going on there? And you'd be like, oh, just doing stuff. Or you're like coming with the Starbucks every single time, and it was great.
Who is there anyone who wants to go? Because I kind of forgot who everybody had. Okay, let's go with Michaela.
Okay, to be fair to Moana, she literally worked so much. She was spread so thin, but yes, you were always late. And I remember like when we were in the theater, I would wait at like the back door to let you in sometimes because you were like running around doing stuff.
Literally, Act 2 was starting, and I'm like, guys, I'm in the show. Somebody.
Totally. All right. We have life of the party. Okay, we have Iris, Dylan, Faith, Boston, Gabby, Boston, and Boston. Okay.
I put it like pretty split. I did both you and Gabby because I feel like you guys just exude that sort of energy. Like, I'll do anything, anytime, anywhere. Let's do it. Let's go.
Oh, thank you. I said that because like you have the ability to like, I like kind of what Priya said, like light up a room with just like your energy and just like your smile and your kindness. So I feel like if some girl's crying in the bathroom at a party, you're like, listen, girlie, like I just got you. You know what I mean? Like, just
Mom vibes, party mom vibes.
Yes.
And if I'm not
that's the energy.
mistaken, I do believe the majority in the first group was also Iris.
Yeah, I think they also said Iris. That's it's so interesting to see your guys' different takes, but the next ones are kind of a little more, I would say, juicier. So
Yeah. Okay, so next one is most likely to be your boss. So we have Michael, Christopher, Sean, Christopher, Michaela, Michael, and Chris.
I said Sean because I think that of all of us, he's one of the most responsible people. So I feel like he'll probably end up owning some like big old company, and I not being responsible at all. So I don't know why any of you said me would take that place. But
I said Michael because I don't know, you just have the presence of like a boss. So that's why. But you'd be the kind of boss that you never see, but it's a bad thing when you see them. You know what I mean? Like when you come in the building, you're like, oh no, the boss is here.
I would say that just because Christopher basically was my boss the entirety that we did shows together. Just because like I don't know if you could gather, but I would get into some trouble every once in a while. and I would always, he's always telling me not to do things. I don't know if it would work the majority of the time, but it was the thought that counted, and I could totally see him being my boss one day.
Biggest drama king and queen. You have two answers. Christopher, Boston, Cole, Boston, Iris, Gabby, Boston, Moana, Christopher, Boston, Gabby, Christopher, Moana.
Christopher for biggest drama king.
I don't disagree.
I wouldn't say, okay, when I started, like the first week, I remember Christopher wasn't there. And so like, I didn't know him, and like the show was already cast and I still hadn't met him. And I feel like throughout the entire process, like we never really connected. Like we weren't really like good friends yet. No, not yet. But then I feel like during tech week, we kind of like, we became friends. But there's just like some times that were so funny. Like I remember it was during tech week and you were freaking out. Like you were just like really like nervous, and you went off stage and you started doing like jumping jacks and like push-ups and like sit-ups, and you're like, and I was like, is he okay?
We're like, welcome. This is what happens.
It was really funny to me.
Right.
I put you and Gabby because I feel like whenever you guys got together, like in the hallways or anything, it was just, there was a lot of drama. There was a lot of, yes, there was just.
Well, it was usually involving, we can cut that out, but.
We say cut? No, but yeah, it was just funny. Whenever you and Gabby were together in the hall, I would like, not that I would try to avoid you because I love you both, but I was just like.
So our next one is director's pet. We got Dylan, Christopher, Dylan, Sean, Iris, Christopher, Dylan, Iris, Christopher. Okay, I'm honestly intrigued to hear from Iris and why she put herself.
I mean, I just feel so, I'm a people pleaser. I know a lot of us are, and luckily we were blessed with an amazing director, so it was easy to be her friend. So I tried my best to be her friend because she was really cool. And that's also me being a kiss butt, saying she's really cool right now, but I wanted to be her friend, and I still do. She's a homie. Miss Stewart, we love you.
You're a homie. We love you. We did talk about this in the last episode because the majority, if not unanimously, was Christopher. But we did talk about how even though these seem like more negatively geared questions, the reasoning isn't always as negative.
No.
It was just to further your performance, especially because Christopher, everyone was just talking about how you would always say sorry and looking for approval. But then everybody also followed up about how you were just trying to better your performance and none of us like really cared. So
Right.
it's definitely like a double-edged sword. It's definitely
And
not.
I said Dylan, not for Stuart, but for Brooke. Like, Dylan was director's pet with Brooke. Like 100%. Like Dylan could spit in my face and kick me in my bum knee, and she'd be like, Boston, what did you do? Like, what did you do? Like,
You have anything
it's
to
just-
say about that, Dylan? You got anything to say?
Yeah. Actually, no. That sounds about right. I could with
See?
Brooke, I could probably get away with just about
you
anything.
could literally like murder one of the little kids in our show and just be like, it's okay. It's okay.
She would be like, yeah, they were being annoying. I get it. Like, don't worry
She'd like
about
find a reason for you to be right. All right, who's the loudest? We got Meredith, Iris, Boston, Moana, Gabby, Christopher, Meredith, Moana, Boston, Iris, Christopher, Meredith. I need to scroll. And Boston.
So Christopher's super loud. Yeah, no.
That's
In the
cute.
shower, he's super loud. What else? No, like I don't know.
The list
There's
goes
sometimes the list goes on. There's sometimes when just he and I are hanging out, like we're talking about something, and I
And you're
realize
like,
that
ow.
like my ears started ringing, and I'm like, I know we're like getting really heated about this, but like,
Christopher, a rebuttal?
yeah.
I just like to say I'm dialing back on that now since I ruptured my eardrum about a year ago. So
That was Mother Nature's way of being like,
Do it to
hey,
yourself, buddy.
no, somebody slapped me on stage. Actually, okay.
Fake,
I
it
didn't do
was
my-
me.
I think I put you, Boston.
No
Just
problem.
again, like you're just loud and
Obnoxious and just a rude
not,
and annoying
not in a
guy.
bad way.
No, I know I'm in a bad way. It's
Hey,
okay.
Priya, humble him.
I don't want to shut up.
Our next one is most likely to have no idea what's going on. Okay, so we have Moana, Gabby, Moana, Dylan, Moana, Dylan, Cole, Moana, and Dylan. I think me and Dylan kind of took the cake on this one. Let's go, team. Come on.
Okay, so the first show I did with Dylan was Little Mermaid. And my lord, he was like, I think you missed like the first 2 months or something.
Playing water polo or something.
Yeah. And then when he got there, he had no idea what was happening, like ever. Like even during the shows, it was a little questionable sometimes, but it always pulled through. Like it always randomly know everything during the show. And it was the weirdest thing because during rehearsals, I had no idea. And I never understood.
I put Moana. I
As you
think,
should.
yeah, just sometimes. But okay, Moana would
Sometimes
not
there's
know
nothing
what's going
going on
on,
up
but
there.
then no, but then she would literally know everything going on. So I
That's
feel like
true.
she like alternated between the two of like not knowing anything or just knowing everything.
Biggest flirt. Not just with us, but with adults. We got Dylan. We
Oh,
got Dylan.
it's Michael.
And we got Dylan.
I don't know how to. I feel like it's such a moot point. Like everybody knows Dylan is the biggest flirt. Like I don't feel like I need to present any evidence. I'm talking as if it's.
He's like, do you guys want me to take my shirt off? Because I can. I'm like, nobody asked you. Like,
Can I do it?
stop. Like,
I'm gonna do it, guys. Nobody asked.
like, okay. Dylan, do you have a rebuttal?
Okay. My rebuttal is that I don't know.
There's no
I just
one.
do that with everyone. I like even like Christopher and Boston and like
And
like
people's
literally it doesn't
moms,
matter
yeah.
like Moana, like it literally didn't matter who. It was just kind of like I don't know. I just have that kind of personality, I guess. And
It's okay. We still love you, Dylan.
I love you, Dylan.
Okay, this next one is best group leader. Priya, Iris, Michaela, Boston, Meredith, Christopher, Gabby, Iris, Sean, Gabby, and Michael.
I did put Christopher. He was very much a leading man in multiple ways. I feel like by the time he was like a junior, senior, we all were like, if Christopher's there, everyone's like, okay, this is legit. And then we like went. So
This is
I will
legit.
it's just
say-
what it was.
I put Priya because I think Priya would be the one to like just calmly and like confidently just be like, all right, guys, let's go. And I feel like she could really lead a group if she needed to, and she would be like the actual like good group leader, like not one that had. And I think the best group leader is always the little quieter ones, and I don't think you're a quiet Priya, but like you know what I mean. Like those more reserved because they really know how to like lead a group. And I just think Priya would say this next one most likely to have their own reality show.
So I said you, Boston, just because like
Okay.
come on, like I could totally see that. I would watch that. I would definitely watch that reality TV show. I think it would be like a cross between like The Bachelor and like The Good Housewives of New Jersey. And I just
God.
feel like that would be really, really entertaining to watch, like prime television. So yeah.
Next one is a little more chill one, best hair. So we have Meredith, Dylan, Christopher, Faith, Meredith, Dylan, Meredith, Michaela, and Christopher.
I feel like Meredith and Michaela kind of have like, I mean, their hair is obviously not the same, but it's kind of similar where it's just effortlessly, like it looked like they just came from the beach.
Agreed.
And it's just like perfect in that way. Like Meredith can literally just take her hair and just like go like that, and then it stays up, and then like the perfect curls just fall around, and like both of their hair is just so pretty. It looks so nice all the time.
All right, next up is funniest. All right, we have Faith, Michael, Gabby, Boston, Moana, Michael, Dylan, Moana and Boston, Moana and Boston, and Moana and Boston.
Boston, are you kidding me? I picked you. I picked
seriously
you and
don't
Moana.
remember. Me and Moana together separately, not funny at all.
No, we paid everyone to pick us.
We just demoed
Honestly,
you
I mean,
all
you
for
are
that
in
one.
control of the show, so. Yeah, but I
love
love
you.
you guys, and you always make me laugh. And Boston, your laugh is contagious, and Moana, your laugh just makes me want to keep laughing.
Oh.
Not in a mean way, in a very cute way.
Your laugh is actually so awful that it just keeps everybody.
That I laugh at it.
It's just fuel.
All right, let's hear from Iris.
Moana just keeps the joke going. Like she'll just keep adding.
Yes, thank you.
But oh, my lights. I don't have like lights in my room, so she just keeps like the joke going. And usually, sometimes people do it and it doesn't hit, and it's like bad because then they kill the joke. Moana just she keeps it going, keeps it rolling, and we just lose it. She sometimes doesn't know when to stop, but it's still funny.
Call her out. Priya, yeah.
I remember, okay, so we did like a gift exchange, like a secret buddy during 13, and someone got Moana like this mask, and it was like a clown mask, and it had on it. And I remember like I got my phone, and Moana had like, she took my phone and took pictures like up close, like with his mask on, and I swear that is, I still have them on my camera roll because they're probably the funniest things I've ever seen. It is so good.
I love that mask because my person that I had was
in fashion.
And now the person I had was Jet and kind of Brooke, because Brooke helped him get the gifts. And I said I was into masks, or I think my mom might have told him that, but I like
face masks.
I like collecting like the masquerade masks that you wear in like New Orleans.
Like a nerd, yeah.
Those type of masks. And so he got me a couple of those, but he said he was confused on which kind of masks I like. So he got me this giant, clear, full face clown mask. And I was in absolute love with it. And I've broken it, but I still have it in my
She pulled the receipts.
I love that mask. And the hot drummer boy from 13 wore it. And that's why I've also never thought of it. Okay, and next we have most likely to get away with anything. We have Dylan,
Is that my name?
Dylan, Boston, Christopher,
Oh, never mind.
and Christopher.
Sorry,
Okay.
Iris. I thought you put me, and I was like, I literally never got away with anything.
So I put Dylan down for one reason, and one reason alone. Wizard of Oz. I just remember Scarecrow. There were some times when I was like, where is this line gonna end up going today? just like the one or two times, and I don't know. I felt like yeah. Not never in like an too bad a way, but I just feel like there were little things here and there. I was like, man, Dylan really got away with that.
Okay, last one. Biggest diva.
Boston. Oh, we see a Cole slipped in there, but who's behind there? Oh, that's Boston. And then another Boston. And does that say Christopher? Iris, I can't see yours. Oh, Iris, it says Iris.
I get it, guys. Okay. I promise I changed. It's not that way anymore. Like, I was just like 14 and like had issues, and I would just take them out on like 5-year-olds, and that's just how it was.
You know what I felt watching you say that right now is watching any YouTuber sorry apology video.
They're like faking a tear.
Okay. Well, thank you all of you for playing that game. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing all your responses and all of that. But speaking of the biggest diva, I do not think that we can keep going without talking about her. So as you all know, the theater project is dedicated to the late Brooke Morris, who spent her time and dedication choreographing City of Temecula youth musical theater productions, as well as obviously touching all of our hearts. And we all miss her dearly and wish her family absolutely nothing but love. And last year at the untimely passing of Brooke, we were unfortunately not all able to be together. Many of us were attending school and spread out across the country, so we were not all able to attend her service. And since Brooke was a role model in all of our lives, we wanted to allow this time and space to share our favorite memories with Brooke, as well as the impact she had on all of us. And I'm going to kind of start this one off with my Brooke story. I 100% believe that I would not be doing theater if it wasn't for Brooke Morris, because I already told my story about how Stuart forced me into theater, but it was definitely Brooke who had this wild, like, confidence in absolutely all of us. And even if any of us were the worst dancer, she wouldn't be like any other director or choreographer and say, oh, go in the back or don't do it. Actually, she would to some people, but for the most part, she would say, you're going to figure this out until you get it. You are going to practice until you get it. And that is what she did with me for every show. Or even if I wasn't the lead, even if I didn't know how to tap, she would teach me how to tap. She would make me learn how to tap. She would put me at the front to force me to kind of face my performance anxiety and to force anything that I hadn't dealt with before. And so it's definitely because of Brooke that I've even learned anything about dancing and that I even got to step further into the world of theater. So I absolutely owe everything to her.
Yeah, Brooke was there from like the very, very beginning. Such an exuberant and down to earth soul. Very much involved like in my life in terms of dance. I started learning tap from her way back in the day, and just an amazing person all around. And I think she was such a cornerstone of our group, just in how she treated everyone with such kindness and warmth, and it certainly wasn't the same when the news came around that she had passed away, and it was such a sudden shock. But yeah, she's an incredible individual. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's hard to, articulate.
She DM'd me on Instagram, and she was like, hey, listen, like there are things that happen, and here are ways to like get over it, and here are ways to better yourself. Like she wasn't just like nice, she was informative and she was constructive, and she had, as Moana said, that absolute confidence in people. She really loved theater and wanted other people to love it as much as she did. And I think that probably without her I wouldn't have as good of the mentalities as I do right now. She instilled a lot of really good stuff.
Well, if it wasn't for Miss Brooke, I wouldn't have found City of Temecula for sure. Knowing her as like a dance teacher in a studio setting was very different. Um, she was my tap teacher, so I still hear her shouts of movement, not in like an angry way. She would just yell like "step shuffle ball chain, paradiddle stomp," like with that exact pitch. So it's stuck in my head forever, and I appreciate it. I'm not complaining. But I would say the most epitome like Brooke moment that stuck with me, and you may cut this out if you would like to, and it's not bad, but it was Bye Bye Birdie, and it was when I'm sharing a funny one because it's how I cope, but it was the last bump note of Bye Bye Birdie, and me and Mr. Christopher had to kiss, and we kissed, and then Brooke yelled, "That was it terrible or awful?" I think it was terrible. She yelled, "That was terrible!" After me and Christopher had to, first of all, we were young and like, stage kisses are weird and awkward. And it was on a note, and like, she was like, that. So after we're already like nervous and like, stage, she yelled, "That was terrible." And she told us to fix it. So that was probably the funniest moment of my life and most embarrassing at the same time. So I appreciate her for letting me experience that humiliation and having me grow as an actress. And I love her dearly.
She was just like so kind and energetic and understanding. And not in like the stereotypical like mom way, but more in like a fun aunt way. Like I remember I had like a few roles like Babette where I had to be like sexual, or I mean not sexual, but just, you know, like move my hips and all of that. And I was super self-conscious, and she would do everything in her power to just make me feel at ease. And if I didn't like a costume, or if I felt like it fit weird on me, or if I was just feeling anxious or nervous or insecure, she would always sit me down and just have like the best talks about come into your power and embrace yourself. And even though I wasn't like the best dancer, she still tried with me. She didn't give up. And yeah, I love her and I miss her.
Yeah, just I think her energy in general was so amazing to have. It's the kind of thing that it just makes your day so much better to be in her presence. And I think she has such a serious talent to be able to captivate everyone's attention from ages like 5 to 18. Like I don't think there's anybody that could say like, "Oh, she's boring," or "Oh, like I don't want to listen to her." Like just anything she says, you want to listen to what she has to say. And she was so kind and like loving that it made you want to do better and put on like such a great performance. She was so inspiring in that way that just made you want to put on such a wonderful show, and I really appreciated that about her.
You know, we've all talked about like her air of confidence and like the glow that she had, but it wasn't just that, it was that she made us feel that way. Like even I'm pretty sure you all know what I'm talking about, but there's like a walk that she did where it's like her strut, where she moves her shoulders like that when she goes. And I don't know, even just like thinking about that now, that makes me feel so good. And it's unexplainable the way that she was and the effect that she had on people, which is something that I really miss about her.
Yeah. I would say my favorite memory would be before Mary Poppins, I didn't know squat about anything dance related at all. And if you're familiar with the show, there's an intense tap number at the end. So I would get home from the longest day and then have like a 2-hour, 3-hour like rehearsal with just Brooke teaching me like step by step how to do like the most simple things. And yeah, she was always like, because it was always late, we were both tired, we didn't really want to be there, but she always found a way to make it so fun. And yeah, that would be it.
Well, thank you all for sharing. I'm sure all of our and people who worked on all the city shows with us, if they're watching, I'm sure we'll greatly appreciate everything we talked about. And I just want to say that Brooke was, we've all said it, but Brooke was, I think, such a pivotal person in our lives that like, and I think, and I said this at the last group, losing someone that big in your life at such a young age is like so hard. And I think the one thing was that I remember like Gray Sky calling me and just like sobbing. And even Dylan, I remember calling Dylan and just like sobbing and just like having that, even, you know, for those of you who were together, like having that community was amazing. This is my only thing. I do want to share this. It's a video from her Instagram and it's of me dancing, but like her voice is in it. So I just wanted to share it. It's the funniest thing ever because I put on this ugly, sparkly vest. I was working crew on Mary Poppins and she took this video, so I just wanted to show it. And she put Boston at its best. Yeah, Mary Poppins. Not good, you know, she wasn't known for her Instagram captions, but you know. Well, thank you everyone for sharing our stories with Brooke. I'm sure she's up in heaven twirling in her, you know, 10-inch heels and has body glitter to her heart's content. And I'm sure we'll all move forward with all the glitter in our heart from Brooke. Well, so thank you again for joining us today. And before we go, we wanted to give a shout out to Jennifer Stewart. Without her, this group, as well as the previous, wouldn't be here. Just like Brooke, she has taught us so much and allowed us to have a safe space to create theater. Above all else, she gave us wonderful friendships and memories, and that we will never forget those for the rest of our lives. Another thank you to Christopher Marasosa, Michael Johansson, Meredith Bell, Michaela Gomez, Iris Sitwell, Dylan Cohen, and Priya Mapleton, as well as our first round of alumni for sharing your insight and experiences today. We greatly appreciate it. With that being said, make sure to look out for future TTP episodes and announcements. See you all soon.
Yeah.